This episode comes with a trigger warning. In today's episode, we are discussing baby loss. So if you're not in the right headspace to listen, please, we won't be offended if you skip this one. But there is a lot of places that you can look to for support, and we are going to pop all of those in the show notes. Hi everyone, and welcome to Mama Social, the podcast. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Kayleigh, and we're here to talk motherhood, womanhood, and all things adulthood.
So grab yourself a bev and enjoy.
I'm so happy to have you back in our lives.
The tyre man came today. This is
A week later.
It never ended. He's had a lovely day. He's had such a lovely day. Best time ever. So I'm like, oh, so what did you do? Don't know. So what did you have for your dinner? Don't know. Who have you been playing with?
Don't know.
Don't know.
I think I've had about 2.5 hours of sleep.
No, and you're doing this to yourself. You need to work on that.
Elle is here to talk about Baby Loss Awareness Week, who is wanting to share her story and normalise this conversation.
We also have a daughter, Giorgia, who was stillborn in August 2019 at 40 weeks and 5 days. So she was full term. I don't think obviously anything can ever prepare you for those words. It's just talking to people who understand it really, who know exactly what you're going through. And like you said before, you know, they know what to say or what not to say.
There's all this out there. There's all this support, all these charities and stuff that you can go to that we have no idea about, and we are so ignorant to, because you just never think it'll happen to you. In case anybody is wondering why we have headphones on, it's because we tested it out and I absolutely love how I sound in my head.
And I'm into all these weird little noises. That noise, right? Obviously, it's not hay fever time. That is a noise I have to do during hay fever time.
Really? When
to scratch
trying to
one's throat.
Huckle
No,
up?
no, I'm trying to itch me throat. Try it. Oh, delightful.
I don't like it.
She don't like it. I love it. Right, anyway, so Lauren wants the headphones. I'll totally get distracted by the headphones.
How many
FYI.
notes I've got in my phone?
Yeah, let's do a note off.
Oh, let's see how many you've got in as well, then, because maybe mine's not actually that bad.
How do I find that out?
Just go on your notes.
All right.
How many?
209.
Oh, you win. 196.
I've got 1,400.
Stop it. How many? 1,480. What on earth do you put in your notes?
She's also a spicy-brained lady, as you can tell by her notes.
I've got like the most, like, I just looked at my notes and one of them says honey. And I was like, what on earth is this? And it's honey, oats, foil, bin bags, fairy liquid fruit.
Mine is black, 10 foot wide high.
What?
Let's scroll. I need a hero.
I need a hero.
Elle Mariano.
Dreams.
Oh.
I have notes about dreams in my phone. Sometimes when I have really intense dreams, I feel like I need to write them down. So I write them down so that in 3 years I can come back to them and be like, oh my God, that happened.
Back to run and sister sex.
Is that was a dream? Was that a dream?
Cystic sex.
Cystic?
Cystic? Sadistic, possibly?
Sadistic.
Harriet. What? Hello, girls. Oh, Beth. Aggie. Come on, keep me. Give a duck foundation.
Give a duck.
What's that?
Give a duck.
Oh, wow. I'm really enjoying this. Right, we've lost ourselves. Come on. I am so happy to see your beautiful face.
Oh, I know.
I really fancy you in a cap.
I always wear a cap, you know.
I love a chavvy boy, you know.
But I'm not a chavvy boy.
No, but
I'm just a gal in a cap. Just a gal with greasy hair, you know.
Oh, I've got greasy hair today.
Yeah, the hair's very greasy. But did you?
You said yeah, as if you were agreeing my hair was greasy.
It doesn't actually look bad.
I always think with blonde hair, it doesn't
look as bad.
No,
as
I think
dark hair.
it looks greasier.
I think it's just person to person because my hair looks wet. It looks physically wet when it's greasy.
Never seen that before.
I could show you, but I don't want to disturb my headphones.
She's positively loving them.
I really am.
Well, here we are. So,
Here we are.
what a week you had last week.
Oh, honestly.
I'm so happy to have
So
you back in our
The
lives.
tyre man came today. This is
A week later.
It never ended. It never ended. So the tyre man came today and he was like, so how much did it end up costing you then?
Drum roll, please.
And I was like, oh, £250 for the tyre.
Dear me.
£60 to get the universal wheel nut kit.
I still can't believe that's a thing.
£56 for my actual wheel nut thing, lock, whatever it's called.
But where are you going to keep that so you don't lose it again?
So I don't want to tell anyone in case they steal it.
who's going to steal it?
I don't know, but it's in a safe place.
Is it, just put
in
it
the
in
car.
your dashboard thing.
That's exactly where it is.
So where everybody else is in the world.
You know what? We've been meaning to do a tip run for the last few weeks.
Skip for anybody who's
Tip.
south of Sunderland.
So a tip run for the last few weeks. And I know for a fact that when we do a tip run tomorrow, because we're going to do it tomorrow because now I have 2 new tyres and can get there without getting a flat, I'll find it in the garage.
You will?
100%.
Well, then you'll have to put them both in there.
Yeah. So it cost us, what was that?
I don't know.
300 and...
That's a lot less than I thought it
About
was going to be.
£375. That was just for the one tyre in my wheel nut kit. I actually need 3 more tyres changed, but I've just had to say to him, just change that one that looks like it's about to go, because it had a bulge about that big sticking out the side of it.
I've never seen tyres like it.
That was going to have a blowout any day. It was getting bigger and bigger as well. I had it at the garage on Friday for them to change my tyre. It went back to the garage today for them to put the new lock nuts on or whatever they're called. I keep calling them a different thing every time. And they were like, that's so much bigger. Like that bulge is so much bigger. And then my tyre man came and he was like, God, that's got bigger in a week.
I've never seen it. I don't understand what was coming out of it. Just air. Was it a pocket?
Well, yeah, so Glenn drove into a curb.
Stupid guy.
Well, it was a central reservation because he was looking at an old woman. He was looking at an old woman on one side of the road that he didn't pay attention to the fact there was a central reservation, and he just went bang with me tyre.
So he was flirting with an old bird.
I can't remember why he was looking at her. I don't know if she'd fell over, but I don't think she'd fell over because we would have stopped the car and helped. There was something where he was like feeling like he needed to watch this old woman. And blew up my tyre. But I mean, my tyres, they didn't have much tread left on them anyway, so I was going to need to get them changed.
So, was that the pit of your week?
Oh, I mean, that was absolutely the pit of my week last week, yes. That 100%. Pits and peaks. I don't actually think I've got a peak because it just never got any better. I don't think anything good happened.
How's Oaks doing with school?
Good.
Yeah.
So what is he now? Like 3 weeks in?
Dunno.
3 weeks in, he comes home. When he gets out of school nursery, he tells us he's had the best time. He's had a lovely day. He's had such a lovely day. Best time ever. So I'm like, oh, so what did you do? Don't know. So what did you have for your dinner? Don't know. Who have you been playing with? Don't know. And I'm like, oh, all right then. Every morning, he doesn't want to get dressed. He hates his school. His school is horrible. His school is boring. He never wants to go again. But then we get there, get in the little queue to drop him off, and he just struts in like he owns the place. And I'm like, well, what was all that for then? What was all that for this morning?
Yep.
So yeah, I think he's really enjoying it. He's definitely very tired when he gets in. I've noticed the last couple of weeks his behaviour hasn't been bad, but it's been challenging. It's been exhausting behaviour. Like he's just had a lot of...
please.
So one day I picked him up from nursery with my mum and Ovi, and he was so excited coming out. He said he'd had the best day. We were walking to my mum's because the school's not far from my mum's, and he kept running down, like trying to run down the street. And obviously it's a busy street with cars and people coming in and out of school. And I was like, oh, you need to stop running. And then I noticed he had his shoes on the wrong feet. So when he was running, his feet were like, he looked like he was thinking a hula hoop around his feet. So I was like, right, we need to change your shoes. So sit down, we'll put your shoes on the other feet. And then he wouldn't stand up. And we were standing like at the school gates where people are coming out. And I was like, come on, we need to get out of everyone's way. Like, stand up. Didn't want to stand up. Started screaming. Like, just screaming. Like, not saying anything. Just literally like, ah! And then if anyone looked at him, he just screamed at them. Like, screamed bright red in the face. Like, just scream.
And the weird little kids.
And then I'm just like, right, come on now. Like, come on. We need to get to grandma's. Get up. Like, stand up. We'll walk down. No. My mum's walking ahead with the pram, and my mum's walking in ahead and going to everyone's, he's tired. He's having a bad day.
Yeah, making excuses.
And then we got in the house and my mum went, either don't half show you up, don't they?
Show you up.
And I was like, well,
not me.
I was like, that didn't show me up, no. I was like, he's a 3-year-old that's just came out of nursery, like he's probably knackered. Like, that didn't show me up. Showing me up would have been shouting back. Do you know what I mean? Like me shouting back at him, then I would have shown myself up. Yeah. But like, there's just been a lot of that. There's been a lot of screaming. There's been a lot of, I don't want to do, like anything, he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And he'll scream. And he's going through this little phase at the minute where he only wants me to do stuff for him. Like Glenn took his seatbelt off in the car.
Hell on.
Absolutely hell on earth because he wanted me to take the seatbelt off.
How many days is he in nursery for?
4.
He's never been away from you for that amount of time.
I know.
So he's wanting to normalise
and
your
then sometimes
attention.
I feel really bad when he's like, where are you going today? And I'm like,
in the house.
Work. So where's Ovi going? Because I don't want to say, well, he's going to grandma's, because then he'll be like, well, I want to go to grandma's. And I'm like, work with me. Like, what?
But then, should you be telling lies?
I don't know.
What's the best thing
This
to
whole
do?
parenting thing, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm doing it right. I just don't know.
I was talking to Paul, one of the guys in the studio before we started, and he was on about that thing. We just don't know what best. And like in 10 years' time, it's all going to be different anyway. So we're doing it different to our parents, slightly.
Yeah.
And they did it different to their parents,
yeah,
slightly. And we'll still be messing them up somehow.
I've
so as long as we can sleep at night.
That, I think I might have shared it. A reel that's been going around, and it's like, I can't remember who's what, but are we millennials? Mm-hmm. Are we millennials?
Yeah.
So like a millennial mother trying to explain to her whatever was before us.
Gen
X? Gen X?
Gen X.
Right, so I don't know what it was, but it was a millennial mother trying to explain to her mum,
so a boomer,
parenting these days, and it was like, don't say this word, don't say that word, don't say naughty, don't say.
I think I saw it on your thing.
Yeah, and I think, God, that's just, it's so right. Like our mums must think we're mental.
Well, I was saying that my mum truly believes that I don't say no to my children, and I'm like, I absolutely do, 100% do. I just don't scream in their faces.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I try not to. We all know.
I mean,
the issue with the wellies that happened a few months ago.
The odds blow up.
That I still have nightmares over.
I'm not surprised.
I see the wellies in the cupboard and go, oh dear me, throw them to the back. We need new wellies for PTSD. Anyway, so quickly, because this was clearly we've missed each other, because that was just an intro. We've not even.
Well, I did do a pit.
Okay.
And
so
I don't have a peak
thing in.
So
you must do.
Well, I mean, I've got 2 new tyres. Actually, Ovi slept through the night the last couple of nights, but I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to jinx it.
You're so funny, you.
I don't want to say these things out loud, but I've had weeks of hell. I have had weeks of awful sleep. I had weeks of Ovi waking up at 4 a.m. and just staying awake for the day. Or
But can you
Ovi
not remember?
waking up, and then by the time an hour and a half had passed and I'd gotten back to sleep, bloody Oaks comes strutting in.
Can you not remember the first 2.5 years of my life with
Yeah.
Eva was that, though? So I
I
really
just-
pray that it's over for you.
I do. I'm
She's
I'm so tired thinking about it.
I'm so tired.
But the last couple of nights, I think maybe the last 3 nights, he slept from like 6:45 until anywhere between 6:15 and 6:45.
That's epic.
I mean, it's absolutely great, but I really, really hope it's gonna last.
It will. So,
will tell me
my pit. So, my pit is that sleep. Everybody else is sleeping in the house,
But not you.
not me.
Why?
Too much going on. So as soon as I get the kids down and I lie down in bed, my brain goes, and now awake.
Why don't you just have a bit of night nurse? Just down a bit of night nurse.
'Cause I need to be on guard.
For what?
The children, not for intruders.
Yeah, but listen, if you're like, oh, Dale's been away, hasn't he?
Dale was away all last
Right,
week.
okay, yeah. I was going to say, surely if you're in a bit of a coma, Dale would wake up.
Possibly not. Fend for yourself, children. No, last night was horrendous. I think I've had about 2.5 hours of sleep.
No, and you're doing this to yourself. You need to work on that.
I know.
You need to be switching off.
I know. But
You
the
need
issue
to start
is
trying to
because
take your sleep seriously.
I'm doing this till late.
You need to stop
And
that.
then
You need to
I'm
have your
just-
windy down time.
I know.
You
I
need to have it.
There's another podcast that calls it the bliss hour.
The bliss hour. So what's a bliss hour? Where
Like
you just
anything.
don't have any. You
We
need
need-
to go to bed and read.
Well, I've started a new book, but the book generates thought.
Oh no! So what? It's like some kind of self-help. You don't
Yeah.
need that. You need a fiction. You need
So it's,
just a story that you can get
No,
obsessed
because the
with.
story that I'm reading, so I've got a fiction one and I've got a 10x rule by Grant Cardone that's like changing me brain. But I don't have time for changing my brain because I'm doing everything. But this one scares the shit out of us. So I've either got fiction scares the shit out of, or
So why
self-
don't you just find a nice easy read book? Just get a bit of Colleen Hoover. That'll do.
I think I've read all of them.
You can't have
Name one.
reminders of him.
Oh, never.
There you go.
Okay.
It's really good.
Thank you. So I need to back to meditation. I need to.
So
You're right.
you just need a bit of mind numbing time. So you obviously have finished Vanderpump Rules.
How
now.
do you feel? Do you feel?
I feel like there's a
You've-
huge hole in my life.
No. Do you not feel? Elevated, like you've gone to
No.
the next step of.
No, I feel so sad
Reality
that it's over because I'll
TV.
never ever find anything that compares.
Daft
But that's a good one to watch, to just switch off and not use a brain cell.
No, because what will happen is I'll turn that off and all my brain will go,
Hello.
oh, hello, awake, awake. I need to look at a candle. That's
know
a
what?
meditation. Have you tried that before?
What, looking at a candle?
'Cause I know
Glenn
you-
doesn't let us light them.
Oh no.
It's a
Well,
flame.
stand outside in the garden and just hold a candle. This is actually a meditation practice. This is what I do with Dale because his ADHD brain doesn't stop. But you just stare at the fire of a candle and breathe. That's it.
Oh.
And continue to stare at the candle. I'm going to stare at the candle
How
till-
long?
until you feel peace.
Okay, well, I just, me and Glenn last night were watching, is it the Monsters on Netflix?
Oh my
Where
God.
it's like the
I started watching it, yeah.
What they're called, the Menendez brothers. And
Do you not
we were
feel
watching
sorry
that.
for them? Are
Well,
you
I
up to
have-
the sorry
no,
bit?
No, I've
Oh, my
only
heart.
I've only watched 2 episodes, but I have seen that Kim
Okay, so you
Kardashian
still-
wants to free them from prison, so I know that they've gone to prison.
So you still hate them at this
No,
time?
but listen, I don't hate them. I have no feelings yet. But I did say to Glenn, this is why we're trying not to traumatise our children.
Wait, episode
Because you
3
don't
and
know what
4,
you're raising.
you're like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Right, well, we'll probably watch 3 and 4 tonight.
Right, so that was. Did anybody else?
What was that?
I don't know if anybody else could hear it or you will be able to hear it
that?
in the edit. but my voice did something weird. And then Lauren's just went, "Rah." Like some sort of baby bird coming out of our throat. I don't like these headphones. They're too distracting.
They're not
And I've
distracting
got
me.
a sweat.
I'm really enjoying.
Gosh. Anyway, that was fun. So, was that the pit? Me peak. I had a lovely, I've never been to it. Have you been to a charity boxing match before? Totally don't know if it was legal, but it was for charity.
I don't know. Probably in the past.
Well, I didn't enjoy watching it. I've never been that close to boxing.
People being punched in the face.
Not drunk on a night out. Like, it was really good, and it was for a little boy who's got leukemia. So it was like the fight for the little boy's name. And it was a couple of Dale's friends were fighting. So it was a really good cause, and the little boy was there, and his dad and his brother, not the son's brother, like the dad's brother, his uncle, fought. So that was a good fight.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't think I'd enjoy watching that either.
Well, it was like, ooh, and I just kept going, Jesus, oh, and I was like moving out the way. Anyway, I've got a new hobby.
Oh, God, you're not a boxer.
I'm a boxer.
Oh, honest.
I was
God.
sat next to...
What happened to your MMA?
I never went, did I? Because I flew, and then I quickly moved on.
Right, so now you're a boxer.
And now I'm a boxer. So there we are.
Oh, I've just...
Oh, she's just dropped all her bloody cards.
You know what? We're recording on a night today.
We are. Because today we have a guest on the podcast, which is Elle. Elle is here to talk about Baby Loss Awareness Week. We are working with Tommy's charity this week and really trying to highlight and normalise the conversation of baby loss, because I know we've had conversations before where it's just a little bit, you don't know what to say for best.
We had a guest on who was one of my friends, didn't we? God, it was a long time ago now.
Yeah.
And one of the questions that I asked her is, how do you want people to approach the subject with you? Because I always find that really, because you don't know what to say to people that have been through something like that. You just don't, there's nothing that you can say. But you don't want to say the wrong thing, but then what is the wrong thing and what's the right thing? And it's a difficult conversation to have for everyone.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was important for me to have that conversation with my friend and be like, look, going forward,
what do you need?
What do you need? What do you want to speak about? What don't you want to speak about? She went through it and I was pregnant. So at that time, we couldn't run away from the fact that I was pregnant. And I just think it was really important to have that conversation with her and know that what she wanted, what she was okay with, so that we could move forward.
Yeah. So if anybody doesn't know what Tommy's is, it's the leading charity stopping heartbreak and devastation of baby loss and making pregnancy and birth safe for everyone. That's their objective. And that takes us straight over to the amazing Elle, who is wanting to share her story and normalise this conversation. So let's just start there. It's a big thing, and we know a lot of people might be triggered by this or bring up some feelings that are not okay, but we're all in a safe space. And Elle, thank you so much for wanting to share. So let's just start off
Thank
with
you for having me.
the old saying of the whistle stop tour.
A whistle stop tour of who you are, Elle.
Hi there. So I'm Elle. I live in Leeds with my husband Adam and our two boys, Benedict, who's 8, and Marlo, who's 3.
God, I love that name.
We also
Both
Benedict.
Oh, thank you.
Isn't
Marlo.
that gorgeous?
Stunning.
Oh, thank you. We wanted like out of the ordinary names. So yeah. We also have a daughter, Giorgia, who was stillborn in August 2019, at 40 weeks and 5 days. So she was full term. Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much me.
So how do you even navigate that? Was she, how old were the boys, sorry?
Benedict was 3. Marlo, we didn't have Marlo at the time, so Benedict was 3 years old. And yeah, he was super excited to meet us. We didn't know if it was a boy or girl at the time, but he was super excited to be a big brother.
Yeah.
And it was an absolutely straightforward pregnancy, as far as I knew. We had the 12-week scan, the 20-week scan. Everything was fine. She was moving, she was kicking. I was aware of like the importance of monitoring movement. I knew about Kick's count. I had like a wristband to keep track of movements every day. So I felt I was, pretty prepared, and yeah, I had no concerns. She was due on the 5th of August. That day came and went. So did the 6th and the 7th. And I remember going to sleep it was a Wednesday night, the 7th of August, and she was moving, and I could feel really good, strong kicks as normal. And then I went to sleep, and I woke up the next day, and obviously Benedict was running around as a 3-year-old does. His grandparents were coming to take him out for the day, so it was all a bit busy. But after a while, I noticed that I hadn't felt any movement. So I wasn't overly concerned, because I thought, maybe she's just taking the time to wake up. And then, so my parents came, they took Benedict out. I still hadn't felt any movements. I'd had a shower, I'd had breakfast. So we phoned the hospital, and they said to come in and just have a check. So we drove to the hospital, went into the maternity assessment, and the midwife put the Doppler on first of all, and she just went trying to find the heartbeat, and trying, and it just went on, and I could tell that obviously she was struggling. And that at that point, it was a few minutes, and then she went, "We're going to have to take you in for a scan, because I can't find any heartbeat at the moment, but we'll go into the scan and see what's going on." So we went in for the emergency scan. Again, a few minutes, she was kind of scanning, and then just turned and said, "I'm sorry, there's no heartbeat." And I don't think obviously anything can ever prepare you for those words. I don't really know.
I don't think anything can, especially when you've got that far. You just, you wouldn't, not that you would expect it at any time, but you just wouldn't expect it. No, you just wouldn't expect it.
And because you were 40 weeks and 5 days, did you say? Had the conversation.
Yeah, sorry, it was 40 weeks and 3 days at the time.
3 days.
Yeah.
I had the conversation of, do you want to have the sweep, all of these normal conversations. Like Eva was 41 weeks and 2 or 3 days. Like all them conversations, I imagine, happened as well.
Because Benedict, my eldest, he was 41 and 1, I think. So, like I say, I wasn't overly concerned. I had a midwife appointment on the Tuesday, and she had offered me a sweep, and I'd said no at the time, thinking I'm quite happy to wait.
Because isn't this stat out there of like only 4% of pregnancies actually come on your due date anyway? It's like
very low,
tiny.
Very, very low, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think about that all the time and think, would it have made a difference if I had gone for the sweep? Which is one of the many things that you think about after, but hindsight is a wonderful thing. So yeah, I just remember got told those words, and I screamed, I cried. I remember Adam just holding me, the midwife just holding me, and just crying. We got taken to a room. We met a consultant who then talked us through the next steps, which I don't think I took much of it in, obviously. But she explained that I had to take a pill to get things started and come back to the hospital in 2 days' time to give birth.
Oh my God.
Which I don't know. I don't know what I expected, but I didn't in my head think that I'd still have to do that. I asked if I could have a C-section instead. And they said they highly recommend that you go through natural labour if you can. Thinking about if in the future, which obviously wasn't a great something we were thinking about at the time, but if in
Yeah.
the future we were to get pregnant again, they said it would be better if we hadn't had a C-section, you know, body-wise. So yeah, they basically told us what to do. Come back in on Saturday to a place called the Snowdrop Suite, which is kind of the bereaved parents suite in the hospital, just off the maternity ward, and come back there on Saturday. And then that was it, kind of thing, really. We had to go home. I had to phone my parents, tell them, and then we had to go home and tell Benedict what had happened, which was really hard.
They don't even have any
I was going to say, did he even
conceptual
understand? Like,
understanding of death at that age, do they?
No, he'd never been exposed to it before. So it was hard because we thought, like, well, how do you explain this
Yeah.
to a 3-year-old? We basically said, we sat him down and said, unfortunately, the baby was really poorly. Unfortunately, the baby has died. And, you know, it won't be coming home. And he kind of thought about it for a little bit. And bless him, he said, well, Mummy, why don't you give the baby some Calpol? I know.
God
That'll
bless
make it
him.
better. Which is just so, you know, so innocent, most innocent thing he could have said.
And obviously, we can see how moving that part for you is, because he's your child as well. And yeah. Bless him.
And it was just, how do you, I mean, I just didn't know, you know, we didn't know the best way to approach anything with him, really. We just had to.
I don't believe that there is there's not a
right way.
a way. There's just not a way, is there? It's just
No.
like I
didn't.
trying to think if I was to have that conversation with Oaks, like just how on like how do you do it?
You just have to,
You've just got to do it. You just
like you've just done.
Yeah. I mean, because I didn't want to say, oh, the baby's gone to sleep or anything like that, because, you know,
You don't want to
he was a
scare them.
clever boy. He needed to,
Yeah.
you know and not think, oh, maybe the baby will wake up again
yeah,
or something like that.
If
So
you sugarcoat things, it's just not for the best, is it?
that's it. Yeah.
Kids are a lot smarter than we give them props for. So you did the complete right thing there.
Oh, God, yeah.
But how the fact that like it makes no sense. So did you find out what had happened, how that had happened, or is it just stillborn is just something that occurs?
Yeah, we didn't. We consented to a post-mortem. She had a full post-mortem. And that took, I think it was 3 months to come back.
Gosh.
God, imagine that. 3 months.
I know. They told us at the time, they said, you know, it does take a long time. But yeah, we went in for an appointment, and yeah, they said, I'm really sorry, we found no explanation. Which was hard because it was obviously, it felt so pointless. Like,
Yeah. And when
You
you're
know,
grieving, you want to assert blame somewhere.
An answer.
You want to be like,
yeah,
this is what, even if it's the worst thing, like,
Yeah.
could I have done something differently? Like, obviously you can't, but in that moment, you're trying to find reason for something horrendous that's happened.
absolutely.
So how did you then move on from that?
It's hard. It's really hard. You just, I was worried both ways, because I was worried that something would come up and say, this is what you did and this is what happened. But then to have no explanation the other way, you think, well, how can I move forward? And if I want to have another baby, how will I kind of deal with that? Thinking, is it the same thing going to happen again? But I mean, I had a lot of support, had some amazing support. We had a bereavement midwife who, you know, she was in touch with us every day for, I'd say a month, 2 months. I'm still in touch with her now, actually. And she was the midwife who actually looked after looked after us when I was pregnant with Marlo, which really helped. I had counselling with a local charity in Leeds, who offered bereavement counselling for parents. And also I found an amazing community on Instagram, which I didn't expect at the time.
Instagram has its perks.
It does. I met some through that. I've met a lot of bereaved parents. A couple who've become really, really good friends. And it's just talking to people who understand it really, who know exactly what you're going through. And like you said before, they know what to say or what not to say. So yeah, but looking back now, I don't really know how we got through it, if that makes sense. It was just one day at a time, even like an hour at a time sometimes.
I imagine Benedict helped because you had that driving force to get up 100%. In the morning because you've got another human to look after. So I imagine that propelled you.
He really did. We had a reason to get out of bed in the morning because he needed to go to nursery. He still needed his breakfast. He still needed normality. Since obviously everything had come crashing down. So yeah, he was our reason for carrying on really.
So how do you then take the next steps to want to fall pregnant again and expand the family, and how do you move forward without the terror type of thing, which I imagine the whole 9 months you were just thinking about?
All the time, yeah. I remember saying pretty soon after Giorgia was born, like a couple of days or something, I said to Adam, I want to have another baby. This can't be it. My arms were just empty. And I longed to just have a baby again. Not in any way to replace her, obviously, but I wanted Benedict to have a living sibling. And I just knew that wasn't it from my side. Adam was a little bit more reluctant. He said, I don't know if we can go through this again. And then to be honest, it took a while afterwards, and I don't know if that was just my body wasn't ready or what, but it actually took us, I think about a year, just over a year to fall pregnant again. And I think that probably gave us the time we needed. We went through all the milestones. So we went through Christmas, birthdays, Giorgia's first birthday. And then I think we were ready after that to do it again. I still don't know how we did it. It felt like 9 months of holding my breath. I had a lot more support as well. Having had a stillbirth, I was referred to the Rainbow Clinic in Leeds. So I think I had monthly appointments, regular scans, right from sort of 8 weeks up to kind of 38 weeks because he was born early. And that really helped, having the scans every month, knowing that they were keeping an eye on everything. And I also went to maternity assessment more times than I can remember because I was paranoid about the movements.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and they were amazing. They totally understood. There was no like, you're bothering us or anything like that. Every time they were like, come in, get checked, which really helped. It was really reassuring.
So if anybody is going through this right now, is there any tips that you would give? Tips is not even the right word. It's like, where would you reach out? How could you process it? Any advice that you would give to somebody going through it?
My first thing is always don't look too far ahead. You need to literally take it a day, an hour, sometimes minutes at a time, because looking forward is just too scary. You don't know what's in the future, and it's not the future that you had planned. So don't put any pressure on yourself. Just take it at your own pace. There are amazing, obviously you've mentioned Tommy's. I was lucky enough to be able to have the local counselling as well, but there are organisations like SANS and Aching Arms, Petals, and the Worst Girl Gang Ever, who are all sort of charities that specialise in supporting bereaved parents, and reach out to them because they are amazing.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you for having me on. It means a lot to talk about Giorgia and to talk about stillbirth and hopefully raise a little bit of awareness.
That's it. I think it's so important. It's so uncomfortable to talk about because nobody wants to talk about it. But Giorgia was meant to do something, and I think these conversations are so important for that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being so brave. Lauren's not saying anything because I imagine she's about to have a little moment.
Well,
I understand.
This is where I find conversations like this hard, because this is not my moment to have. Do you know what I mean? But you don't know what to say. I do not know what to say. Like
that's the thing.
There's nothing that I feel like I can't bring anything to this conversation that is going to be meaningful or not me. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know what to say.
People do say that, and I always say that there is nothing that you can say that's going to fix it or make it better. But I always say just ask about the baby. Let people talk about it. Ask their name. Say, I'm really sorry. This is absolutely shit. I have nothing to say, but I'm here for you.
Yeah.
It's kind of the best.
Well,
because there are so many things that people do say that are wrong. Like, at least you're young. At least you can have another. Things like that.
But it's so strange because the meaning, they're trying to mean well, aren't they? But they're just
100%.
not thinking about what they're saying that could be hurtful or that.
I feel like that's definitely an older generation. Like my mum would
about
definitely say that. That's the type of thing that I would hear my mum say, and I'd be like,
"Yeah,
you can't say that."
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I think it's that. It's just like, at least, and you like say they're trying to help, but it just doesn't. But yeah, just listening, I think, and being there and letting people talk.
To be honest, I think that's the best thing when you need to offload about anything. So if you're going through anything, having the right people to just be a sounding board. I don't need you to fix it. I don't need you to give advice.
I just need you to
listen
and nod and sit
and pour the teapot. Like, don't try and fix the shit because it's too hard to fix.
Exactly. There is no fixing it.
Well, just cheers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No worries. Nice to chat to you.
I know that was a bit heavy for what we usually do. But I do think it's really important to have every conversation of parenthood. And that's a conversation that's swept under the rug too many friggin' times.
I agree.
Should we do share shit?
Please, share some shit. Please, share some shit.
Share some shit. Honestly,
please.
Elle, thank you so much. Thank you. And if anybody is struggling and need to speak to somebody, please reach out to Tommy's. They're a great charity, and any of the people that Elle had mentioned there.
Isn't it mental that there's all this out there, there's all this support, there's all these charities and stuff that you can go to. There's these specific wards in the hospitals, these specialised midwives that we have no idea about, and we are so ignorant to because you just never think it'll happen to you. You never ever think that something like that would be your reality, that you would be living something like that. So you just don't even fathom that exists.
Yeah. And what we were saying before was you don't want to think about that because you don't want to put it out there to even be in your radar.
Yeah.
These things do happen.
We had a conversation before the podcast about how I avoid anything like this. If I see a post on Instagram or anywhere and it's got something to do with like a poorly child or a death or anything like that, I just go straight past it. I don't want to read it. I don't want to know. I don't want it to get into my headspace. And yes, I know that is ignorant, but that is me protecting my peace, I suppose. Staying ignorant.
It's amazing that there is that support network out there for people who do have that horrendous, traumatic experience. And we're grateful for that. So if anything,
100%.
we should be donating to more things like that. And I still don't understand that we don't, after 20 weeks, you're then not scanned. That's mental.
Unless obviously something's happened prior. It is mental.
Like that half a pregnancy of not knowing.
So is it like just the second half of your pregnancy, you're just supposed to know if things are right or not?
You're supposed to. I'd never heard of that bracelet she was on about.
I hadn't either.
We should ask that. We'll find out what that is. But like, I remember going in once because Eva hadn't moved in the morning, and you do get terrified. You're like, oh my God, like you're on with your busy day, and then you're like, oh,
has this happened?
And you're trying to jiggle about and like feeding the bump to try and move it. And as soon as we sat down,
Kicked.
I felt that. When I lay down on that bed with the Doppler on, and I was like, you little bugger.
You little swine.
But then for the people that don't have that little bugger moment, like what she was saying, being taken elsewhere, and you just can't even begin to imagine.
You can't.
Oh, well, let's finish off
On a lighter.
light note. But yeah, reach out, share, connect. Community is good.
Yeah.
There we are. Anyway, share your shit. Go.
Share your shit.
Share your shit. Share your shit.
This is just a rant, but my son is starting to never be home anymore. He's old enough to make his own choices, but I'm not used to him being out all day and then coming home late, sleeping, going to college and coming back late again. He's got a friend and a life and I trust him, but I miss him. Thinking about adopting a rabbit. What the fuck? Thinking about adopting a rabbit instead. What? Oh. He keeps things clean and is responsible. I just didn't think I'd miss him, even though he's still here. Haha. Uni soon. Maybe he's just preparing me.
Empty nest is a real thing, you know. And I think, you're a mum of two, a boy mum of two. Like, I always say to Freddie, and maybe I shouldn't, but I was always like, don't you leave me.
You've just got to make sure you're good mother-in-law.
Yeah. And like the daughter-in-law.
Hopefully.
Or fake it till you make it.
Some circumstances you probably just got no good yet.
Oh, it's so sad. Because out of me two kids, he's the squishy one. He's the one that wants the cuddles and is always sitting. Ava's just like this big diva. Like, I need him to always be with us. My mum gets so upset about, sorry Mark, you never listen, so it's all right. But like, she always says that saying. What's that saying? Your son before what?
What?
The one where you're a son until your son finds a wife. It's a rhyme.
I feel like I know what you're going to say, but I can't remember it.
Son quote. A son's a son until he takes a wife, but a daughter is a daughter for life. That's not the one I was on about.
No, that's not the one.
That's not the
What,
one.
so your son's not a son for life? That's
Until
the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Until he takes a wife. What's the saying about a son is a son till he gets a wife? Oh, this is... My son's a son till he hath got him a wifeth, but my daughter's my daughter, and death's of lifers. Anyway, there is a proper saying, you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Because his wife, like, I've turned into Dale's mum to the point where I'm like, I am not your mother.
Oh, well, I have to say that, Glenn, a lot as well.
Like, I'm not
your mum.
I'm not picking up all your crap. Have you seen that reel where there's a woman and the little boy, it's from behind, and she's like got the phone here, and the little boy's like tidying up the toilet, putting the toilet seat down, and she just like this thing of thank you, I'll have the thank yous from his wife in the future or something like that. And she just looks at the camera. And then there's another one where he's like putting his dishes away, another thank you from his future wife. She looks at the camera. It's like she's training her son to be a good husband. Yeah. I want to do that for free.
Oh yeah, I feel like I try and do that. Like, I try and get Oaks involved in the tidying up and the cleaning and stuff.
Yeah. For the future wife.
Yeah.
Be grateful. Don't take him away from me.
Yeah, don't make him leave me. This is another situation where I like to remain ignorant until I have to
get on with these misses.
Face it, do you know what I mean? Because even if this was a daughter, I'm not ready for my kids to be. Actually, by the time, maybe when they're 16, I will be ready for them to leave the house and not come back for a very long time.
Get the rabbit. That's my concern.
Listen, is it bad that when I was reading that, I wasn't thinking of a furry animal?
Lots of course.
But that's just where my mind went when I read it.
Filth. Get a big Barry. Big Barry. Oh, not Barry. You're Barry.
No.
That was the name of my first one,
Barry.
I called him Barry.
Oh, nah.
Big Bazzer. Ashley is shook in the corner. Yeah. Get a friend. Go out on dates. She might have a husband.
I mean, I know.
Why would you get a rabbit over like a dog or a cat?
I know. Yeah, that is bizarre. Why on earth would you want a rabbit?
My brother and sister-in-law do have a rabbit.
Yeah, but is that for the kids?
It's for the kids.
Yeah, like under 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Surely nobody gets a rabbit that's over 10.
Have you ever seen a rabbit go on a walk?
My shoe just fell off.
A rabbit that goes on a walk?
I haven't in real life, but I do actually follow a couple of people on Instagram that have rabbits, and it is cute. But
have you seen from my childhood, there's a lot of people own ferrets. Would take their ferrets for a walk. Weird. I wonder what them people do now.
Yeah, when I used to go to my dad's, there used to be people that lived next to my dad's that had loads of ferrets.
Did you just say somebody looked like a ferret?
Mash.
Yeah.
Mash looks like a ferret. Shoot, I assume that sometimes when I'm walking in, people mistake him for a ferret. And they probably think I'm one of those people that walks the ferret.
Right, my fact of the week. Fact of the week. Younger siblings may be less risk averse and more extrovert.
What's risk averse?
Like they just don't, like if Eva was on that couch, she'd jump off. She's just got no, whereas Freddie would be like, I may fall on that table. I may, like.
I feel like both of mine are going to be Eva's.
Do you think?
You
need a third.
Dives off everything.
You need a third.
No.
Take this with a grain of salt. I thought it was a pinch of salt. But if you believe at least one of the research,
What? Can you start again?
It's really late.
I know.
I've had 2.5 hours
it's
sleep.
Bedtime.
We've been emotionally overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I've had meeting upon meeting about meeting on SEO.
Take a breath.
Websites.
Look at the words.
I'll have to do it in my posh voice for my dyslexia. Younger siblings may be less risk averse and more extroverted. What the fuck? What?
Nothing.
Take this with a grain of salt, but if you believe at least one of the research,
Come on now.
What?
What?
Have I seen that wrong?
You just said at least one of the research.
What does it say?
Some.
Oh.
Do you want me to read your fact?
Yeah.
Younger siblings may be less risk-averse and more extroverted. Take this with a grain of salt, but if you believe at least some of the research, the runts of the litter tend to be more outgoing and bigger risk-takers. Some believe that this is because the littlest family members are forced to speak up and take risks in order to get attention, especially in large families. Why are we referring to our kids as runty puppies?
It's not me. It's the fact.
The runt of the litter?
Rabbits.
I don't have a litter of kids.
What do we have? Brood.
Children?
Humans.
I don't know.
What are they?
I don't know.
Do you believe in that though? Because I do.
But I don't know because
You don't know what you've just said.
my baby's not grown. I don't know what.
For you.
What?
So I'm this person. So I'm the youngest of
Oh
my
my
family.
God, I'm the runt of the litter.
We're the runt of the litter. That's just like the world is our oyster because who cares?
Oh my God.
This is you.
My sister is 100% Little Miss Sensible is not jumping off the settee in case she scratches herself.
Mm-hmm.
My brother's got middle child syndrome. Mm-hmm. I'm the runt of the litter.
Yeah.
I'm the runt of the litter. I bet Mash was the runt of the litter.
Yeah.
I bet he was.
See the anxious one or the barky
Yeah.
one?
No, he's anxious and barky. He's both.
AKA both. Well, this has been an emotional ride.
It's been a bit of a roller coaster, I'm not going to lie.
It has been a roller coaster. But it's nice to have you in my life.
You too.
You know what the thing is though, now that you've mentioned that you can't see your eyes, I imagine you won't be able to see your eyes with that daft cap on. No more caps. Okay.
I quite like it because you don't know what I'm thinking, what kind of mood I'm in. You don't know. Do you know that I just had my eyes closed there?
No, you didn't. I was looking at your eyes
I did.
that were not closed.
I did have my eyes
Shut your
closed.
eyes. You weren't like that.
No, but before you started saying that, I had my eyes closed for ages.
No.
I swear to God.
Well, I just must
Watch
have
it
been
back.
looking at you. I will.
I had my eyes closed like this for ages, thinking, God, I could really fall asleep right
I
now.
wish she'd shut her
I
pie
wish she
hole.
would shut the hell up.
Where we're going for tea?
I couldn't.
Why?
Have I escaped bedtime?
Well, I'm
What do you
definitely
reckon?
going to be escaping.
I'm going to
bedtime.
check. Oh, God, I've got 7 texts. And the last one is, so the only one I can say is, honestly sick of my effing life.
Let's do these nighttime recordings.
This is what solo bedtimes feel like, Glenn.
Lush. Well, do your thing.
I said, how's everything going? Shite. Really shite. I'm losing the will to live. Honestly, sick of my effing life. And then a photo of Oaks and Ovie just wide awake in our bed.
I did say earlier Dale was not going to be bathing the bairns tonight. That's his role when he puts kids down. I think he just goes, we'll do half the job.
I'm just going to have to reply and say, oh, you've really screwed this up, haven't you?
Royally screwed it up. Right, well, while she's texting, ever the professional over here, I will close off this podcast.
I'm so good at solo bedtime. You leave me all the time. Oh, he said everyone's asleep now. Where do you want to go for tea?
I'm so excited. I should drop them piss and
Do you know what I
farts
really
again.
fancy? A carbonara.
What a
What's my hand doing?
That's an ADHD thing, you know.
Or doing that with your
Have you
hand.
seen it, Ash? When people go, it's like when you're relaxed, you put your, and when you go to sleep, notice, I imagine you'll go like that.
Right, okay.
Right,
Well,
do
if
your
you
thing.
could, like and subscribe and just get involved with the episodes.
Leave a review.
Leave a 5-star review.
Or don't.
Or don't bother. Okay? Leave us. Have we had any new reviews?
I haven't checked.
Didn't we have loads of stuff to read out before and I missed the episode?
We just have not done any of them. You know what though? I think it's slightly inappropriate if we start knocking out some funny share your shits, and we've just had the beautiful
you know
Elle
what, I
on
do agree.
telling a
I
story.
absolutely agree.
So we'll share your shits. Did you just smack your arms?
Honestly, I'm delusional.
It's all the sweet you've had.
I'm delusional right now.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.
Goodbye. This episode of Mama Social, the podcast, was filmed and produced by Flamingo Heights Podcast Studio.
Lauren, I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
I don't like
Why
you
you say
soon,
Lauren?
soon.
Just say see you soon.
Steve.
Because we're talking to our listeners.
Ah.
See you soon.